Greetings, fellow Trekkies and Trekkers. Thank you so much for your continued support. I cannot be able to do what I do without you. And welcome to the continuation of my series of videos called Remembering Star Trek. And today, we are going to be taking a look at Star Trek Voyager. Now, this was the second and final Star Trek show that premiered in the 1990s, and then after that Enterprise premiered, and then that was it. And yes, I am fully aware that there's going to be a new Star Trek show premiering and all that other fun stuff, so there you go. So what made Star Trek Voyager interesting and unique and different from all the other Star Trek shows is that this was the first show in which the captain was female. That we've never seen a female captain be the lead character on a Star Trek show. That never happened, and the fact that it happened, we had to wait until the 90s to see this was unbelievable. But still, again, major props to the team behind this show. They did an amazing job. Once again, an amazing cast. And what also made the show different is that yes, while the Voyager crew were explorers, they were also trying to find their way home while they were being trapped in the Delta Quadrant, which, as many people know, is Borg territory. That's their home turf. So yeah, it's pretty interesting that the Star Trek show dared to go where no other show has gone before, and that was great, and I love it. And this is just a great show all around, and it's definitely worth your time to check out. So let's talk about my favorite episodes as well as the essential episodes you should definitely watch from Star Trek Voyager, starting with Caretaker. This is the very first episode of the show, and it is awesome, and I love it. There's even a scene that takes place on Deep Space Nine, and in the very first episode, we see Voyager docked at Deep Space Nine before it goes off and before it gets stuck in the Delta Quadrant, and I believe that in the show they say it'll take 75 light years for the Voyager crew to get from the Delta Quadrant back to home in the Alpha Quadrant. So, yes, and of course, establishes everything you need to know about the show. A good majority of the major characters are there, except for one, but I'll get into that in a little bit. So, yes, very, very great introductory episode, and of course, great introduction to one of my favorite characters, the Emergency Metal Hologram, or EMH for short. Again, great character. And what's interesting is that Robert Picardo, the actor who plays the EMH, actually did a cameo in Star Trek First Contact, which I thought was kind of interesting, but basically he was playing the same character, so there's that. But I'll talk a little bit more about that when I eventually talk about Star Trek First Contact, so there you go. But so, like I said, great introductory episode. I love it. I think that the only character from Deep Space Nine that shows up in this episode is Quark, and I believe he has a scene with Harry Kim. Poor dumb Harry. But anyway, but so yes, like I said, great introductory episode. I love it. While it may not be as good as the Counter Farpoint or Emissary, it's still a great episode, and I love it. So there you go. Eye of the Needle. Now, sadly, just like with some of the Deep Space Nine episodes, I really don't remember everything that happens in some of these episodes. So, yeah, but still, it's a great episode. Definitely worth your time. Check it out. Learning Curve. This episode is crucial because it's basically the episode in which the Maquis officers are still trying to get along with the Starfleet officers on Voyager, and it's really hard and difficult, but eventually they'll end up getting along and stuff. It's not like they have this big struggle throughout the show, so there you go. But still, great episode. Highly recommended. The 37s. This episode is very, very interesting because it basically deals with the Voyager crew coming across Amelia Earhart, of all people. Yeah, wrap your brain around that. And of course, there's all this old Earth technology that they find. I think this is the episode in which they come across an old Earth truck or something like that. And I think SF Debris talked about that when he reviewed that episode. So, yes, very interesting episode. Definitely worth your time. And I don't remember, I think this is also the very first episode in which we see Voyager land on a planet. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. The USS Voyager can actually land on planets. Yes. And yet, for some reason, in some episodes, they still use a transporter or shuttle pods. I'm like, guys, you can land on a planet. You don't need a transporter to go down to all the different planets you see each week, or use a shuttle pod to land. I mean, seriously, you can actually land on the freaking planet. But still, yes, like I said, great episode. Definitely check it out. Death Wish. Again, this is another episode in which I really don't remember the plot. I'm sorry, guys, but, it's just something that happens. So, yeah, might need to eventually watch those episodes on Netflix. So, yeah. Tuvix. This episode is, I don't know how to say it. It's weird. It's basically revolving around a transporter accident that merges Tuvok and Neelix together into this being called Tuvix. Yeah, that's the guy's name, Tuvix. Doesn't get any weirder than that. So there you go. That's basically all you need to know. And basically trying to find out, is there a way to reverse this? But honestly, I think that Tuvix should have stayed around, because that would have been great to see, But sadly, it didn't happen, so c'est la vie. There you go. Basics. I really don't know what else to say about this episode. It's called Basics. Make of it what you will, so there you go. Flashback. Now this episode took place this episode also took place during the 30th anniversary of Star Trek, and they already did an episode revolving around this huge event in Deep Space Nine with Trials and Tribulations. So they decided to do one in Voyager, but completely different, and it basically revolves around Tuvok having these flashbacks, get it, of his time on the Excelsior during the events of Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. And when I found that out, I was like, wait, seriously? So, yeah, really, really interesting episode. But again, it took place during Star Trek's 30th anniversary, so make of it what you will, folks. Make of it what you will. Future's End. This episode deals with this alien basically trying to alter time, and it's or was it Year of Hell? I really don't remember. But yeah, no, it was Future's End, and basically, the Voyager crew, they have to stop him and try to fix the timeline, and it is awesome, and I definitely recommend it. So there you go. The Q and the Gray. Yes, this is, okay. Remember how I said last time that Q only had one episode in Deep Space Nine? Well, in Voyager, he gets two, and this is the first one. So, if you're a fan of John Delancey, if you're a fan of the character of Q, then definitely give this episode a watch. You will not be disappointed, I guarantee it. Scorpion. This episode is crucial for various reasons. Reason number one, the Borg are in it. How much better can I get? Reason number two, this deals with the Voyager crew and the Borg dealing with this species that the Borg can't assimilate called Species 8472. So basically what happens is that Janeway has no choice but to team up with the Borg to try to figure out a way how to stop this species. And this episode is crucial because it introduces the character that saved Voyager from cancellation, 7 of 9, who of course is played by the amazingly wonderful and talented Jerry Ryan. I'm dead serious, you guys. She did an amazing job playing this character. 7 of 9 is my favorite character from Star Trek Voyager. She's amazing. Definitely watch this episode if you want to see 7 of 9's origins in the show, or her very first episode at least. So, there you go. Day of Honor. This episode, I believe it's the one that deals with B'Elanna Torres trying to save her mom from going to the Klingon version of hell, basically. And B'Elanna Torres, again, while she's not my favorite character is 7 of 9, she's definitely one of my favorite characters. And she's half human, half Klingon, and basically, like I said, she's trying to save her mom from going to the Klingon version of hell. So, there you go. The Raven. This episode, it basically deals with 7 of 9's backstory before she became a Borg drone, before she got assimilated by the Borg, and it's a great episode. It delves more into her backstory, so definitely check it out if you are a 7 of 9 fan like myself. Year of Hell. Gosh, I wish I could remember the events of this episode, but I can't. But again, from what I've read, it looks to be a very interesting episode, so check it out if you get the chance. Timeless. This is yet another Voyager episode that deals with a somewhat alternate future. And basically it deals with how Voyager, the Starship Voyager, was like found on a snow planet or something like that. And one of the people that's there is Geordi LaForge, who is, of course, played by LeVar Burton. So definitely give this episode a watch. Highly recommend it. You will not be disappointed. So there you go. Dark Frontier. This is yet another Borg episode, and it basically deals with 7 getting kidnapped by the Borg, and the Voyager crew have to try to rescue her. And I believe this is the one that introduces the super upgraded Borg cube. So yeah, again, if you're a fan of the Borg, watch this episode. You'll love it. What's this? Oh yes, Equinox. Again, another episode which plot I don't remember. Again, I'm really sorry about this, but still, check it out. That's all I can say. So there you go. The Voyager Conspiracy. This episode deals with the fact that everything that's happening on Voyager is just one big conspiracy theory and stuff like that. So if you're into conspiracy theories, watch this episode, and you might be surprised. So there you go. Unimatrix Zero. This episode deals with 7 of 9 going into this somewhat like dreamlike state or something, I guess, and or maybe it's the one about the Voyager fighting some renegade Borg or something like that. Borg drones, I mean, but anyway. But still, yes. But still, yeah, very great episode. Again, if you're a fan of the Borg, just watch this episode and you will like it. And yes, I actually do believe this is the one in which when 7-9, she goes into, when she goes into a regeneration chamber, she goes to this dreamlike state called Unimatrix Zero, and it's very interesting, so definitely give it a watch. Flesh and Blood. This one, I believe it's the one that deals with the possibility of the EMH becoming actually human and and stuff like that. So if you're a fan of the EMH character, then definitely check it out. Lineage. This one deals with, I believe, the lineage of Captain Janeway's family. So, yes, it's a very great episode. I highly recommend it. If you love Janeway, then definitely give this episode a watch. I highly recommend it. Workforce. I believe, yes, this is the episode in which some of the Voyager crew, they go to this planet and they actually have to do actual work, like mining or something like that. Yeah. If that doesn't sound weird, I don't know what does, so watch it. Q2. This is the last episode in which John Delancey plays Q. And, you know, if he had gone on to play his character in Enterprise, I would have been happy with it. Again, I wish he'd have shown up in the Next Generation movies, but sadly that didn't happen either. So, wah. But yeah, but still, definitely give this episode a watch. You are going to love it. I certainly love it. Q fans who are out there love it. John Delancey fans love it. Watch it. And last but not least, Endgame. This is the final episode of Voyager, and it kicks ass. And, you know, like I said, it takes a certain level of creativity to be somewhat better than All Good Things, last episode of Next Generation. And this episode is the one I feel is slightly better than All Good Things. I'm not saying it's the best finale, but it's definitely up there with All Good Things. And it basically deals with the future version of Janeway trying to save the Voyager crew and try to get them home faster and stuff. And it's a great episode. And this episode has Alice Krieg as the Borg Queen, and I believe that before that point, the Borg Queen was played by a different actress, but in Endgame she was played by Alice Krieg, and that was awesome. I loved that. I especially loved Alice Krieg's performance as the Borg Queen in Star Trek First Contact. So yes, I was definitely happy to see Alice Krieg play the Borg Queen in this episode, and it did not disappoint at all. So there you go. So thank you guys so much for watching, and next week I will be concluding my look at the Star Trek television shows with Star Trek Enterprise. But that does not mean that next week will be my last video in remembering Star Trek. No. And I'll explain more about that next week. So thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to tune in next week, as I will be taking a look at Star Trek Enterprise. So until then, thank you guys so much for your continued support. Live long and prosper. Take care.